Sorry. That's great. I'm going to start from the beginning.
Yeah, sorry.
So I'm glad you did that, Chris. I was just saying what an eccentric and unusual but extraordinary project this is. All credit to Richard Pendlebury and to Justin Leeway and to a small group of people who really pushed this. None of us wanted to write. And at the end, we got a huge number of contributions. They're all here. And in one respect, they reflect the individual histories of young people who were 18 in 1970 and were now approaching 70. And it is a momentous time in our country's history. It spans the Schroder uprising, the rebellions of the 1980s, the process of negotiations in the 1990s, constitutional democracy, and then, of course, the bucket of cold water that our democracy has represented because of the looting and criminality and inefficiency exemplified under Zuma. So, a momentous 50 years. And it is extraordinary what it represented to each of us who wrote in this book. We were chillied, we were bullied, we were reminded, we were paroled, we were, and eventually we all wrote. So, Gerard, thank you to you for what you've done, for your generosity of spirit, for your recognition of the kinds of impediments which even a European language, first language speaker would experience in a school, so much more. And then, Bill, I want to single you out as well. I know that Greg and John have supported you. It's the most wonderful thing that we are doing. And we're going to get that 50 million, there's no doubt. We're going to get it because there is a wealth of talent. As you know, I came to Pretoria Boys High completely by accident, and it changed my life. It was the key to everything else that followed in my life. And interestingly, all of us have a sense of gratitude towards the school, not out of sentimentality, but a practical sense of what each of us gained there at the school. And that also comes through. It's a generous book. I don't know if you've seen any of it yet, but it really is a generous book in which two things for me stand out. The one is the generosity of the boys towards each other and towards the school. And the second is the extent of self-revelation. The vulnerability, you know, one comes up in a boys' school, it's tough, it's macho, it's butch, it's a bit brutal, as you indicate in your contribution, Gerard. And behind it all, there's enormous vulnerability, and that we have been given the chance to put this down here, I think is a very great gift. It's not just cathartic, but very deeply constructive. So we hope, Gerard and I are the tough-minded, hope that these books sell. I don't think it's going to be the greatest seller, but we hope that something will be done with. I think that our successors, there will be a historical interest in this book. I think it's the first time it's been done. So really an extraordinary process, an extraordinary product in tribute to an extraordinary institution. And what Greg and Bill are doing with John, with your support, with Jason's support, with all of our support, is to invest the future of our country in what is a quite exceptional secondary academic environment. I have an inexpressible debt to the school, and that comes out here. And it's a gift that we can give much more widely. So thank you for all you do. And now we're going to have some very formal book handovers. This one is actually for Jonathan Cook. So we'll ask if someone can pass it to Jonathan. And then Jason, your copy. Thank you very much for coming. You know, we really appreciate it very much. John, thank you to you as well. It's 34 years. 35 is this year. Thank you very much indeed. And Greg, I think yours is next. We reserve the private place for your predecessor. Lovely, Greg, and thank you very much for being there. And thank you for all you're doing at the school.
Thank you.
And Bill, then, really private place to you.
I'm going to struggle to get up.
No, you don't have to. As I said, well done on not being dead. Both of us.
Touche.
Absolutely. Bill and I have got a brutal email interchange in which I should have been dead 35 years ago when I was severely ill with AIDS, and because of antiretrovirals, here I am. In November, it will be 25 years. So we're very grateful for your vitality and your focus and your energy, Bill. They are enormously important to the school, and they're enormously important to everyone who knows you. So with respect and with deep appreciation.
Edwin, thank you so much. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much. And we will take Julian's. I'll leave it here. John, thank you so much.
If I can just respond there, just on behalf of the school, to you, Gerard, to the team. I think over in the UK or somewhere in some strange horrible cold island up north in the dark, probably. You know, so much of what you've just said there resonates with me. You know, we talk about this remarkable school, and it's remarkable not only because I have the opportunity to work there, but because of what it meant in my life as well. I had the privilege of talking at the 100th Old Boys dinner a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. They asked me to speak, and I gave a bit of that story, but I very much am also, as you said about yourself, the person I am today and standing here because of the remarkable influence that school had on me, the masters and the role they played in a young man's life. I came from a home with a single mum that didn't have very good male role models around, and while it all started very badly, it ended very well. So it is a remarkable school, and to all of us for different reasons. You know, we have Old Boys reunions, as you know, every year, and last week we had, for the first time ever, a 70-year Old Boys reunion. Gives you an idea of the age of the gentlemen who were there. Gives new meaning to the term Old Boys. Oh. And in fact, the oldest Old Boy who was there was Tony Wilkes, who you'd be familiar with, at the age of 96, and then the next person was 94 and 92. And in fact, one of the gentlemen who was there was 92 years old. He drove through from Johannesburg, attended the assembly, the lunch, and drove back to Johannesburg.
Drank quite a few glasses of wine
as well.
Wow.
You know, that's impressive. He's a regular Thundergun attendee, so he's well trained. But it just tells you what the school means to so many boys who went through it. If you've got Old Boys of 96 years old, 70 years later, coming back to the school because they want to familiarize themselves with it, they want to exchange stories with Old Boys of years gone by, and it's amazing. And I think that's what you put together here as well. The fact that you've got 100+ stories of Old Boys who want to share their experience at Pretoria Boys High is amazing. And I think there'll be some hugely valuable reading in here. I know there will be. We've got a 60-year-on reunion taking place tomorrow. And in preparing for that, you always get the old Pretorians out. And at the 70-year, I found a couple of short stories, which I shared with the group and the boys. I think it's as relevant to both groups. It gives all sorts of insights to what was going on at the school at the time. And for tomorrow's assembly, I did the same. And I found Desmond Abernethy's message in the Pretorian, which is largely directed at the 6 and I've chosen to just share a bit of that story with the school tomorrow, because again, I think it'll be as relevant to the Old Boys who are there as it is to the boys who are there. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And that message that's in there is so important. And I think that the message that's in here is going to be so important. You spoke about successive generations of boys reading this book. And I think that that's where huge amounts of value is going to come from. So well done to you and your team. I look forward to getting my teeth into this over the year that lies ahead. It won't be this evening. But I think you've done a remarkable job, and I think this is going to have a very special place in the museum at Pretoria Boys High School. So well done, and thank you.
Thank you. Can I just add a word or two here? Only because I've known Gerard a long time, and we used and abused you when I was at school, with your building skills, you Chris Lyons and whatever. And Edwin, our paths have crossed quite often, and I think you're one of the people that I have the most respect for that I've ever had. And your friendship means a great deal to me, and I think you'll be behind this. I think I was actually at that reunion when Canterbury was in a wheelchair.
Correct.
And I think that was the sort of source of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just feel that this is unbelievable. Yeah.
You know what he did? Maybe. Well, he decided that he wanted to walk.
Yeah, because he told me to the others again. I mean, it's
well, he now think about it because I haven't got it second hand, but yeah, he lives in Vancouver. The book was actually put together in Vancouver Island. I think he lives on the island there. And he was instrumental in what editing and everything, putting the photos into everything. Because we just have to send it had to be in our font or whatever, but it needs a lot of the photos in there. But what I'm telling you is that 20-year reunion, I think Mark Jablonski and they sponsored him to come out to South Africa, and I collected him at the airport, and now in a convict, came in a wheelchair. When he got back to Vancouver, he decided, no, hang on, he can't be in a wheelchair with his wife forever. And then he went to, I'm not quite sure who he went to for some training to make the brain think that he could walk again. And he started physiotherapy and whatever, he should be telling us. And a couple of years later or something, I'd say 5 years ago, he started walking. It was all understood. And he's walking unaided. And remarkable story.
It is a nice story.
well, those are the people that make boys are so special, and I've got the opportunity not just to work around the thing I've got. I mean, John was my second master for how many years? From your point of view, probably too many, but I was not easy to have as a boss, not because I was nasty, but I was a bit irregular, wasn't I? I sort of did it my way, and I still was hoping that when I had my farewell function that they would put Frank Sinatra on and I did it my way. But we had lots of fun, and John was just the one right and read on this, put you on the spot, I've got to get this man to write the next 20 years of history of the school. Whether he retires or not, or we're going to crook like I did, and just put him on the copy and not tell the department, whatever. You have got to do it, John. You've done the most incredible job, and you've now got 20 more years. My last 10 and Tony Reader's 10. I mean, you can slip in a few vacancies as well. So no, really, you must do it. You're the only one who can, and I'm going public on this now. I'm madly often enough. John's been very special in my life, and then to have two of my boys actually in the two hugely important positions. I mean, I'm just terribly proud of Greg. I was happy to have appointed him in 1999, and we've walked the road together since then. And I mentioned earlier that he's actually now my third son, and now my care is my fourth son. So my family's expanding a little bit. But I'm pretty proud of what you've managed to achieve in 2 years, and I just think your headmastership is going to be stellar. And to have a kid like Jason, who was my second last head prefect in 2008, and the fact that you were prepared to step up and do this job, which is really so important, because I think you've heard me say this before, that the difference between a good school and a top school is the buy-in from the old boys, and you do so much as chairman to make sure that is kind of continued. So for me, they're all very special people around here. Emma and I, knowing you, I went to your wedding, if you remember. and Deline, to echo what others said, thank you for just hosting us here. And, you know, we've also known each other for a long time. Just very, very special. Thank you all for having me here. It's just, I'm glad I actually survived to see this. And I hope that this is going to actually be a challenge to subsequent years.
I hope so.
And I think I think it's going to be quite as long as this. And in fact, just to quickly tell you, I had a visit this morning from Tony Wilkes and Phyllis. They've been wanting to come and have coffee with me. We eventually decided a date at 2:70 on. And they came today for half an hour and spent 2.5. And Tony went down memory lane, which is a very, very long memory lane indeed. But what he presented me with was a sort of a manuscript. It's just done in A4, all sort of glued together, but of his taking over from the school secretary was called Cochrane.
Yes.
But I mean, when I came to Boys, I couldn't believe that the school secretary was a man. Actually, didn't kind of, you know, didn't fit the secretary, but other than the UK, but you know, and he's written about the 3 headmasters that he worked for, Abernethy, Armstrong, and myself. And I haven't read it, I haven't looked at it, but I thought, you know, what an irony. Here I'm coming tonight to get something like this. And I've said to John just now that I'm going to read through this, and if we could maybe put these pieces of A4 paper perhaps together in some sort of binding, I think it's going to be, again, something of immeasurable value to the library, museum, whatever. And I think we would do it soon. Tony's beginning to ramble a little bit and getting what he said, but fortunately, Phyllis has heard these stories so often that she. Now, you were saying about that, it's kind of, you know, leads him on. But this is also part of the richness of the school, and I'm just chuffed that we're not in that, and that we are, you know, we're going to get that 50 million. I'm pursuing Musk with an alacrity that's almost obscene. But I'm going to get there. It's actually quite important that we do. But Brett, I thought I was an optimist. I think you've been more optimistic than I am, but I'll give you 3 years. So thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Thanks for this. Well, this will be a very, very precious memento indeed. I look forward to having you.
I'll be quick. I know. Mr. Hassenkamp always says that he doesn't like talking after Mr. Schroder, so he got in early this evening, which is well played. I don't want to talk after either of you two or Justice Cameron. But I think just from the old boys' perspective, perhaps to just share brief history for me. A 50-year reunion has got a particular place of, is particularly special to me because the 50-year reunion in 2003 was the reason that I came to Boys High. I was very much set on going to Sutherland High School in Centurion with all my mates, and
I wouldn't have taken you if I'd known that.
And my dad wasn't one to push me, but he went to Grey College and was, you know, sort of inclined towards all boys schools, and boys I didn't have open days. So he arranged with the school for us to attend the 50-year on reunion assembly on the Friday. Well, I don't think it was specifically that, but we attended the Friday assembly, and it happened to be a 50-year on reunion assembly. And being in the hall within that half an hour or 45-minute period was just completely changed my entire mind. So I want to echo what Mr. Schroder said about the fact that, you know, the old boys, I think, are what make the school or take it to another level. Of course, the school is a fantastic school and the staff are world class, but the buy-in from the old boys, as you said, and the dedication and the loyalty is just what elevates it to the next level. And I think the impact that the old boys have on the current boys is so immeasurable. And I think it's incredibly sad that your group didn't get to have its reunion 2 years ago because of COVID, and the impact on the Form 1s of 2020, I'm sure, will be felt because they didn't experience some of those reunions. But I think we've got something here that's perhaps even more valuable than that one reunion assembly, and something that the boys can look at and learn from, and just have a tangible feeling for what the school means to generations. And I hope that more and more of the reunion groups take up this challenge and continue to put out, content that we can look back on and not forget the history. So thank you so much to the group of 1970 for what you've done, for hopefully a tradition that you've started, and really just thanks from the Old Boys Association, because you make our lives a lot easier. I think you find. Thank you.
Well said.
I may just add, I mean, I don't know how well you guys, well, you probably don't know Jason all that well, but he was one of these rare kids. I don't think anywhere where I got somebody who had colours for rugby, colours for rugby, colours for basketball, colours for chess, and academic colours. And I kept wondering what.
You mentioned Richard Pendlebury is online.
And I decided the only answer I could give was a cherry smoke while she was pregnant. But you were quite exceptional, and you were exceptional.
Two wonderful leaders.
Well, I'll excuse myself, if you don't mind, and put into bed.
Lovely to see you.
What a joy.
It was wonderful to meet you.
Very, very much.
Cheryl, I'm not sure if you saw, but Richard Pendlebury is online.
John, what a joy.
Does anybody know how to get the video going? Because Richard wants to say something.
Okay, take them all participants. Yeah. Take them all off video. Let them all participants. Invite.
You can't.
I'd be honored. I was given a gavel. Judges don't use gavels, but it might be because it's associated with musical. So that's one possibility.
I don't know.
I will, but I'll be honored very much. Thank you so much. I will certainly something.
No, but quicker. Richard Pendlebury just want to say something and Carol can't get into
I don't know how to. You guys know these things better than I do.
Zoom. It's a Zoom.
How do you put it?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good night.
So should we take a photo of you just while we're here?
I'm not being presented to you. That's a very good idea.
I think we should get cut out in the week as well.
What are you trying to?
So do you simple, yeah.
Do you not want a group photo? Then I can take it.
Okay, let's take three combinations. Brilliant.
Smile.
Yes. I think, okay, Headmaster's eyes look like a fantastic. Also, too much lights.
Yes.
Might help you. Put more lights on the wall. Okay, we'll add more natural light, but we don't have to use that. That'll help the photo.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So right there, stand again.
It's more like, huh? Yeah. Oh, God.
And all of us, Jason, come in, John. Can we get you in the mixer, Mr. Schroder?
Bill, can we conscript you?
Yep. Let's get you up.
Oh, okay. That's on timer. I'll probably switch it off.
Richard, you'll have to unmute. Richard, you'll have to unmute.
Uh,
You're a younger generation.
You hear me now? You hear me?
All hold your books.
See you that time. I wonder if they have a speaker on, Richard.
Hi, who am I talking to?
Short little fat guy from Hoedspruit.
Is this Bert?
Jason, if we can, get Richard Pentlebury in here.
What are we trying to do?
There's Richard Pentlebury be able to speak.
Richard, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
No, it's not Richard.
Hear you? You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine, yeah.
Okay.
Who am I talking to?
Hi, it's Jason Weber here. I'm chairman of the Old Boys Association, but I'm just standing in place until the rest arrive.
Great. So you haven't started yet? There's Edwin. Hello.
Oh,
I'm
wonderful.
delightful to see you.
Your name was the progenitor and the energy behind the whole project.
Well, thank you for that.
Wonderful.
Much appreciated. I wasn't going to join the meeting and tried several ways, but managed to at last get hold of you all. That's wonderful.
Fantastic.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you for your.
Richard,
Is that so? Gerard is there, and Edwin, and Jason, and who's the gentleman in the far back there?
Bill Schroder,
Wonderful.
Hi.
I happen.
and Deline and Emma.
Hello there, Bill.
Hi, Richard.
I'm reading your book. You know, I have it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
I think it's not going to be quite as good as yours, but you know, we're trying our best. And I wanted to say to you, congratulations on this one. It's beautiful, and it's going to be a wonderful read.
Thank you. We're in no competition. We simply are putting together our life stories.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
From my side
Is
as
the
well,
meeting I beg your pardon?
from my side as well, to say thank you very much. We've exchanged a few emails between you, myself, and Julian Cook. Julian was meant to join us this evening as well, but he couldn't be here. But all the effort that you've gone to make this work, get the sales out, get PayPal on board, it's been quite a story. Well done, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful to see you. You look so very young.
I feel you.
I just thought you were looking at me.
And Bill, you look healthy. I'm pleased to see.
Thank you.
I recall meeting you at our 40th very, very briefly, and wishing then that I had paid more attention to you, Bill, and thanked you for your part in all of our lives.
It's been a wonderful experience for me. I mean, you know, I came from Cape Town, and as you know, nobody in Cape Town believes there's life beyond the Hex River Mountains. And for me, the 20 years at Boys High was absolutely the most wonderful time of my life. And
Yeah.
it added a huge richness, and it just continues, you know, to meet all you guys. And the friendships have just been absolutely wonderful. And I'm so proud to have one of my boys as the new headmaster. So it continues, which is lovely.
Well, your legacy lives on. It's quite incredible. Thank you so much for my part too.
Thanks very much, Richard. Much appreciated. I know what's
Well,
happened.
there you go.
I know what's happened to your host. He's disappeared.
So I missed the whole beginning of this meeting, but somebody has it all recorded, I believe.
Yeah, the meeting is being recorded, so we've recorded Edwin's speech and a few responses from the few of us here, so I'm sure that'll be shared with you.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's lovely to see you all. I suppose it's difficult to say goodbye. One wonders when we shall meet again.
But Richard, I just want to know something about your story, because I'm a COVID victim and have had an amputation of my leg, which is why I'm actually sitting down now while I'm talking to you. But I believe your story is even better. It's just wonderful. I believe you are mobile again.
Indeed.
That's worth a book, just on its own.
Well, thank you for that.
But
There's not much. Go on.
I say it's a wonderful story, and I mean, what a tribute to you. And you know, I think when I every now and then feel sorry for myself because I lost a leg through COVID and whatever, I think I'm going to have to think of Pendlebury, and you know, so if you can do it, I can get back to total normality too. It's almost there, but a little bit of a road ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's quite incredible what you are doing. As I said to you at the beginning of this meeting, life is not really hardly about comparison. It's about what we each can do for ourselves. And for me, it was fundamentally about just making sure that I'm a little bit better every single day.
Yeah.
And the 3 years that it took to get to be mobile again, I am sustaining that and making sure that I just keep going.
Well, certainly I can identify with that over my short period of the last 18 months, but fantastic, and certainly to me, you're an absolute inspiration. So when I have my bleak days, I'm going to think of what you've done and know that I can get there too.
Well, appreciated, but our strength really comes from so many sources, doesn't it? Not just one person.
Totally.
So that's really tremendous to have you there, knowing what you're doing as well. Proud of you, Bill.
Absolutely. Good. Okay. Where are you, Gerard?
I'm right behind you.
I think you must say goodbye to Richard, because you're
What do you want to?
the
I'm going to
mate.
say au revoir to everybody. Okay, Richard, nice seeing you again. I hope to see you at the 60-year reunion.
That would be really quite wonderful. You're looking very good, Gerard, and thank you so much for organizing all of this and getting the gentlemen together, and in particular for your huge generosity. Quite incredible.
That's fine. Thanks. No, it's only a pleasure, Richard. You go well, eh? Remarkable.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's a sign off, is it?
It's a sign off. Yeah, it's like it.
Yeah.
You can still hear me?
Yeah.